Welcome back, everybody, to Express. Today, we're going to be diving into a great application, a great project management tool. This one is called Asana. So let's get started. Now, for those who are new to this, Asana is an actual application, a project management tool that can be helping you to design, team organize, tracking, and manage their actual work. Now, why to choose Asana? What we're going to be covering today in this video, we're going to be talking about how to get started setting up your account, how to use the Asana interface, how to create your very first project, adding tasks, subtasks, how to managing those tasks, using the timeline in different calendar views. We're going to be talking about commenting and attachment. Let's go and talk about Asana integrations. And of course, if there's a few automations to use into Asana. And lastly and commonly, we're going to be talking about the pricing and plans directly here into Asana. So let's just get started. So if you click into the link down below that I'm going to be sending you into the description, you might be seeing something like this. So you can choose to create your email account or to sign up with a Google Work account. That's totally optional. In our case, we wanted to use a Gmail account because it's going to be much more faster to input your basic information, such as your name, your full name, everything. Everything is being added into Asana. We can be focusing into what matters the most, which is actually getting started with the project management. So it's going to be asking you, what is your full name? So in this case, I wanted to get started with, let's go for this. And now what I wanted to do, you can change the actual profile like this. So what I can do is try to check out my downloads here, and I can choose my custom brand logo like this, and I hit now into continue. So let's go for Tech Express and hit now into continue. What's your primary role? What I want to do is to choose myself as the actual manager so I can have the whole access to this workspace of Asana. Now it's going to be asking you to select all that applies into your kind of work. So in this case, since we're just getting started, let's go for project or program management. I'm going to go for marketing, and lastly I'm going to focus into customer experience. So this is totally optional. You want to just enable the elements that are actually working with your company. If you don't want to work with anything, just go into skip, or you are not actually sure how to get started. Now, what is your main objective into Asana? Now, as you can see, how the choice is here won't limit what you can do here into Asana. So that means that you can choose, let's say in this case, project and process managing, plan projects, coordinate tasks, and hit deadlines. But then later on, I can add more objectives and more views as we are getting started into the app. So I'm going to hit now into continue. And now let's set up your first project. So what's something you and your team are currently working on? So let's say that we're actually working on some marketing research of YouTube Shorts. And hit now into continue, and we can add a few tasks that we have due for marketing YouTube Shorts. In this case, let's say that I have some shorts of cryptos. I have a shorts for marketing, and I have a shorts for e-commerce. So I'm gonna hit now into continue. If you have nothing to create yet, you don't have to worry about that. You can create your own later. You know, by default, we have tasked with the actual section of to-do list, the doing, and the done. Usually this is like by default. What I would be doing here is just to leave this like that. I'm gonna hit now into continue, and if you wanted to edit this, we can do this later. So we can choose the different layout works that best describes our project. So you can change this later. You can choose even much more. You can change from one to another one. But what you can do to get started is to focus into board. I like to use board because it's much more faster to just drag and drop from to do to doing and to done. And if you wanted to work with something specifically here, I can double click in an actual task, and you'll be seeing an actual expanded view of the whole window of the, in this case, show it's crypto or whatever you are creating here. So we're going to go and focus into board and hit now into continue. Now, if you have already a team made and you guys wanted to try Asana together, what you can do is to add here your email of the teammate here, and you can go into continue. In this case, we don't have actually anyone into this actual teamwork because it's just something as an example. So I'm going to go now into view apps and continue. Now the view apps is going to be helping you to download the actual application of Asana directly into your actual computer. In this case, it would be a Windows. You can add this into your mobile applications, whether you are using a Android or an Apple account. This would be really helpful to managing all your tools into just one place or into multiple places, but you are inside into only one and truly one application. So it's going to be really helpful to download all of those elements into your other smartphones or other devices. So now, as you can see, we're now into the dashboard. So we have successfully set up our very first account into Asana. So let's now focus into how we can use the actual dashboard. So now, as you can see, we have the home version into the left part. We have task, we have the inbox, we have the insights, the project, and the team. I can choose the invite and the help anytime. Into the upper side, I have the billing information. I have the ones in my trial version. Remember that if you click down below into the link that I'm going to be sending in the description, you have the free trial of 30 days trial inside Asana. So I have my account into the upper side. I have here the section that says create, and I have this border that I can just collapse and uncollapse all these new tabs, so I can just focus into what matters the most, which is my project, right? So now every people that are just getting started should be seeing something like this. I'm going to close this because we don't want to see the steps to get started for now, because as you can see, there are actually a lot of things that we need to do in order to focus and to get started. So I can go here and to remove the widget. I'm going to go into the whole screen, and now as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections that we can see into our actual dashboard. Usually what we can do is to try to customize this as we are just getting started, but since this is like the very first day that we're going to be working on here, what I'm going to be doing here is to get started with the actual view. So let's go into the upper side. It says create. And as you can see, I have the task, I have a project, I have the message, and I have the invite. Let's go and focus into project. Now, how would you like to create an actual project? What we usually do in order to, let's say, focus into what matters the most into, let's say, just getting started with our project management, I'm going to be going with use a template. So now I can create a brand new. And usually what we wanted to do is to work with something that meets with the actual criteria of what we're actually looking for. For example, here I have the marketing section, and I have the discovery, create, production. So as you can see, you have here like an example of how it's going to be looking this actual template. So as you can see, have the creative production, have the overview, the list, the board, the timeline, creative stuff, workflows. I have a dashboard. And if you kind of like this, you can go into continue. If you don't like this, you can go and look out for something else. So usually what we do is to try to look out for something much more interesting and go for all types or all the different layouts. If you're okay with it, go with use the template. Focus into the upper side, and as you can see, we have integrations. In this case, this application works with Slack and Outlook. These are really great applications that can be helping us to work with our team members. So once again, you can look how to create an actual new project if you're okay with it, or look out for an actual template. Let's focus into an actual new project for now. So now in this case, let's go for YouTube Shorts. Now I have the privacy public to my workspace. The default blue view, we have the list, the board, the timeline, and the calendar. I'm going to go into the list and create my project. Now, as you can see, we have successfully created our very first project. Let's create our very first task. Let's get here, add task. Let's say YouTube short video number 1. So let's say that I wanted to create 10 YouTube shorts video. So what I can do is to select the details, 3 dots, and usually what I do is to duplicate the task. So I want to be doing all of it, create a new task, and we have now been successfully done with it. So what I can do is to change the actual name of it. So I can go and copy all of this, paste it, and instead of video number 1, it's video number 2. So we have now created 2 different tasks. So now as you can see, we have the assignee and a due date. What I'm going to be doing is to add much more fields, custom fields. I'm going to hit into add fields, and as you can see, I can choose from a library or I can create my own right away. So since we are creating a YouTube short video number 1, I have the assignee and I have the due date. So let's say that I wanted to add a new field. In this case, let's say for example that this is the status. The field type, let's go for single select. And I can add this type button. I'm going to be adding 3 of them. So for example, let's say done, started, pending, and the new one, it should be created. Now I can change the color if I want to. For example, this like this, pending should be this color, started, I'm going to do something like this, and done should be something green, right? So it looks great. So I'm going to go into create the actual field. And as you can see, I have now the status. So since we are working with this YouTube short video number 1, I can go for a status, create it, and here, started. Now I'm going to change this due date for tomorrow, and this one should be on Wednesday. Now the assignee, I'm going to go for myself. So as you can see, we are now getting started. We now know how to create an actual task. If you wanted to see like the full version of it, just click into your task and automatically should be popping up this new window that shows you your actual section. In this case, we have the assignee, reason assignee, the due date, the project, dependencies. Now dependencies, let's say, should be added in this case. This one is not dependency because we are wanting to just focus into one project at a time. Now, since we are just getting started with the YouTube short video number 1, I can add different subtasks. For example, create a script idea. Now that I have the script idea, I can start to record the video, then edit my video, and probably are you going to go for saved it and schedule it. And lastly, let's go for publishing. Can we delete or to add more stuff inside a subtask? The actual answer is that yes, we can actually do it. So what you wanted to do here, where it says create a script idea, I'm going to go here that I wanted to create this today. The assignee should be for myself. And we can do this as we are just moving on and moving on and on and on. If I click now into the message, you can see that we have another window where we have more information about the subtask that we can create here. For example, record the video. Let's say that I have someone working inside the subtask of recording the video. So I have the instructions for this guy. For example, instruction number 1, please record yourself in a white background. Instruction number 2, use the script down below, and you go for www whatever. Number 3, try to make the video linked from, let's say, 10 to 30 seconds, since this is an actual YouTube short. And there we go. So I can even add subtask inside the actual subtask, but that's something that is totally optional, guys. So I'm just having an actual example here. So now I'm going to go back, and as you can see, we have the list view. I have my task name. I'm going to click here, and as you can see, we have now the collapsible and uncollapsed all the subtasks that were generated for this YouTube short video number 1. Now, can I see this into a different view? Yes, we can do this. If I focus into the upper side, we can see that we have different points of view of our project. So for example, let's say that I have the list view. I want to change this as an actual board. So there you go. As you can see, I have the untitled section. I have the short video here, and I click here and I can see that I have the file subtask section. So I kind of like the board section the most. I'm going to be showing you why. Well, let's focus now into the timeline. You can see here into the timeline that we have the same information, the same stuff, but now into different view. This might be taking a few times here, it says, but as you can see, we have the calendar as an actual timeline, and I can make this much more shorter, or let's say more larger. So now if I go into the calendar, I can see that I have the different due dates of an actual project, and I can see that I have the labeled colors of the actual status. You can change the status color here where it says edit the options. Now I have the workflow, the stop building. Actually, this one actually works really great. We have the script section. You can hit now done. We have the dashboard view, and the dashboard actually is really great for people who are the administrator of the actual Asana. For example, how many completed tasks we have completed yet, how many uncompleted, we have the overdue date, the task notification, the task completion over time, the upcoming task by the assignee, and all of that. I have messages here where you can connect and work with our work team members. And here I have all the files that can be helping me to, let's say, have all the files already been gathered up into just one place. So where is this video? Where is this MP3 file? Where is this document that I just gave you? Everything should be added in here into this file. As you are creating messages, different subtasks, everything should be just gathered up and added into the files inside this actual field of this task of this YouTube short. So now let's see what happens when we finished to work with an actual project. So if I go into the subtask, let's say that I kind of use the board. I'm going to explain you just real quick why I do like to use board. So let's say, for example, that I have here the created section. Now I have the working on, pending, for approval, and lastly, let's go for done. So that means that what I can do is to change. I just need to drag and drop the elements that are actually being created, working on, pending for approval, and done. So usually this can be really helpful for me to understand where are we actually standing on with an actual project. Now I can go and click into the subtask. It's going to be uncollapsed everything, and as you can see, I have now created my script idea. I recorded my video, I edited my video, I saved it, and I published in marketing. So that means that what I can do is to move this from pending for approval into done. If you go back into the listing view, you can see that the section that says created is now no longer appearing in my YouTube short video, because we are now seeing this actual section that says done. So you can change this section that says created pending to done. And there we go. Automatically, it's actually working. If you go and choose to mark this task as completed, it's going to be appearing now as gray. So that means that if I go back into my dashboard, you can see that I have now been completed 2 tasks. And here it's going to be appearing the total task completion by ourselves. And here should be appearing which team members created or finished this task. Of course, in this case, that would be ourselves. So now let's focus into what it matters. Not the most, but it's really, really important, which is actually getting started with the integrations and automation and automatizations. So what I wanted to do is to close this section. I'm going to just click into customize. And as you can see, we have the different fields, rules, apps, and forms. There's task templates that you can choose later on. But for now, let's focus into applications. Now, applications can be really helpful to, let's say, drag instant notifications to create search files directly from, I don't know, maybe Google Drive, Google Calendar, Jira Cloud, have Hotspot. You can create even Zoom video chats meeting. You can add all of those elements, all of those links directly inside Asana. So every time you wanted to talk about your project, everything should be added directly into Asana. That's the reason why this is called a project management, because all of it is inside just one place. That's the thing. That's the amazing thing about it. We don't need to talk about WhatsApp. We don't need to talk about Gmail, Zoom, Google Drive. Everything is just gathered into just one place. And it's going to be really helpful to work with your other team members. So for example, let's say that I wanted to get started with some Google Calendar. So if I hit into add this Google Calendar to the project, I'm going to hit into connect to Google Calendar. I'm going to hit into allow. And there we go. So what I just did here is to authorize Google Calendar to work into Asana. So what I can do is to choose my Gmail account. I grant the access. Let's hit into continue. You added Google Calendar to an actual project. So that means that if I hit into customize, I add a new field, choose from library, and let's see if I can find Google in here. If you don't find that in here, you can always go and try to look out for the calendar like this. So I choose for this short, and I have the due date, the parentheses, status, and now, as you can see, I have the Google Calendar added into Asana. So that means that what I can do is to go into the actual list view. And let's say that I'm going to hit into add task. And now I have an actual meeting for a YouTube shorts of the whole October. So I click in there and I add a Google Calendar section. So Google Calendar, let's say myself, checking Google Calendar for fields. And as you can see, there's no events this week. So that means it's going to be really helpful. So let's say that I'm going to go for a week of the, let's say today, like this, and I can submit this Google Calendar events. So usually what we actually going to be focusing on is to create a new event directly, not from the actual Google Calendar, but just inside the Asana. Now, what we can do, let's say I'm going to hit into customize, applications, add app. I'm going to go and look out, search all apps. Let's go for Zoom. I have here Zoom, and I'm going to go here and to add the project. Connect to Zoom, and once again, I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing. I'm going to be connecting my account from the same stuff here directly from Asana. In this case, from Asana into Zoom. So I choose my Canva Gigs account. And lastly, I'm going to go here and got it. And there we go. And just as you just guessed it, I can go and to my listed. And let's say that I have the meeting here. And I have the Zoom. So I'm going to go into add the create a new meeting. And I don't need to go directly into Zoom. I can do all the stuff directly here inside Asana. So I have the topic here. And let's say it's going to be starting today at, let's say, 6 p.m. or 4:30. Duration 30 minutes and hitting to submit. Now the creating submitting was created form from Zoom and was submitted successfully. So it's now been scheduled. And as you can see, now I have this code created in, and here I have the description. I can add a subtask, for example, please get in 11 minutes before the day, the due date, whatever. And I can add files here. I can add emojis, whatever. So I can go here like this, and I have a description, and we're actually good to go. So now we know how to use the famous integrations. So I'm going to go here into customize, and I have the task template. So now what I'm going to be doing here is to try to add a new role. Now, roles are going to be helping you to do automation stuff. So let's say that when you wanted to create something specifically, let's say, for example, let's go for Gmail. Now, let's say tasks move to a section, send an email. Status send email. Task is assigned, send email. It's going to be really helpful to let your team members know what you're actually doing inside Asana. For example, go for task is assigned. So when a task is assigned, automatically send an email, please, and choose the assignee. So task is assigned to this guy, myself, for example. Send email, add action, send email. So I'm just going to wait a few seconds here to this guy, reply to, subject, and the body. So new task assigned. And you can go here into the body. You have a new task assigned. You might want to check it on your Asana workspace. So when a task is assigned to a certain amount of people, it's going to be automatically sending an email and it's going to be receiving something like this. And I create the actual role. So how do I know this actually works? So let's say, for example, I'm going to go here into add task. Let's go for, this is just an example, right? This is just an example. Assignee, like this, due date. Now I'm gonna go here into 4/25, and the status is now being started. Now what I'm gonna be doing here is to try to see if I actually receive an account and actual Gmail. So I'm gonna go here into the gmail.com section. I'm gonna focus and let's go directly into my Gmail account, and I'm gonna go into send. Now, as you can see, I have a actual mail that I actually sent to the mail that I just told you. You have a new task assigned. You might want to check it out on your Asana workspace. Send it via Asana. So this is how the automation works. It's really, really great and helpful for people who are managing team members, or you want to, let's say, multitask, but you don't have enough time to work inside Asana. So we now know how to change from different points of view. We now know how to create a task. We now know how to create different integrations. We now know how to do some automations. We now know everything inside Asana to get started with our very first project. So lastly, before we go, we wanted to check out how does the actual trial version of different plans worked inside the actual Asana. So if I clicked here into my workspace and I've hit into learn more, usually what you can do is to try to go here into the trial button and hit now into upgrade. Now it's going to be showing you that there's a lot of plans available here. By default, I do have the currency of Mexico City because I'm currently living in here into Latin America, but you can see they have a new currency depending on where you're actually living here. We have the premium and the Asana business plan. I believe there is more than enough to try with the premium plan. We have now the timeline, the custom fields, rule, dashboard forms, advanced search, milestones. Everything that we have seen into this actual video comes directly into this feature and recommended price. If you wanted to see much more elements, for example, the Asana business, you want to click there and check it out what this actually comes into the business that it actually done comes with the actual premium plan. For example, we have goals, we have workloads, tables, and much more elements. So with that being said, guys, we have now reached the very end of the video, but don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more great tools of how you can use Asana. It's a really great project management. If you wanted to figure out which one fits for you the best, whether that will be Asana, Notion, ClickUp, Monday, and so much more, we have an actual video making different comparative between these project management, so you can check that out below in the description and you can see which one fits for you the best. All of them comes with an actual free plan, but you don't want to focus to use this every single day, the free plan, because when the free plan last day comes, everything that you have worked so far should be deleted automatically. So you want to make sure that you have an active plan in order to work within all of this great project management. You don't want to delete or to lose all your progress in there. So thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. We cannot wait to see what you're actually creating here into this project management Asana tool. So thank you once again, guys. Hopefully we can see you next time.